Good afternoon, everyone. This is Market Update for Thursday, April 5th. The reason I'm doing the video tonight, wanted to talk about this little scummy action we've seen on Czech since yesterday. Good little learning lesson that we can use to eyeball some of this really crooked financing scam, for lack of a better word, that we've been seeing ongoing in this market over the last couple of years in small cap stocks. And today's edition of this is Czech. Now, Czech is a reverse split stock that we jumped into yesterday for a little small swing play. Stock was at around 50 cents, did a 1 for 12, took the outstanding shares down to about 700K, which in this current environment has been rocket fuel for stocks. We've seen RKDA, ABIL, a bunch of these really micro float stocks go on crazy runs. So given the split that we saw in this one, it looked like a great opportunity. But there is some scummy action ongoing behind the scenes, and we're going to discuss that today. So reverse split happened yesterday, and as is usually the case on these reverse splits, for at least the first hour or two, they usually hit the stock pretty hard. We got into this stock. You can see it kept bouncing back up and forth, looked really good, looked like it was going to go green on the day and go on a big-time run to $7. But as we talked about in the chat room yesterday, every time the stock tried to move, this market maker, MWSE, jumped on the ass with 300 shares, and when the volume dried up, he kept walking it down, and we remarked about this the entire day. Every time he disappeared, the stock popped a little, then when that volume dried, this guy hopped back on the ass. So who I believe that is the market maker working for H.C. Wainwright. They're one of these third tier scummy little brokers that do these financings on these low float stocks. A couple of other examples of them are Roth, Rodman. These brokers deal in low float stocks. They have big runs, and then you see them drop these financings the next day at a substantial discount. So what I think was ongoing here, these guys were shorting yesterday into all the pops, and lo and behold, last night after hours, we get a little F1 filing. It's a preliminary filing for a 10 million share offering. You know, they didn't wait to do it before the reverse split. They waited till afterwards, and these brokers, knowing that they're going to get a steep discount, went ahead and shorted. Now, I've got another video on this on the education site about how to spot company financings. But usually these crooks wait a few days before they drop it. They actually let the stock go on a run. So lesson learned here. What we're going to do, and the reason I brought that up now, is when we see that market maker now hop on these low float stocks, we're going to be looking for that action from that market maker, MWSE, I believe. You know, once we get the confirmation of which broker, which third tier scummy broker is handling this financing, we'll know to watch for those guys going forward. Now, looking back at other financing the stock has done, H.C. Wainwright has been the ones doing it. So perhaps we have a window into which broker these guys use when they're getting ready to drop a financing, and we can pay attention for that action going forward on other low float stocks. This is something that's been going on for the last couple of years. They take a low float stock, they jam it up massively on volume, and then they drop a financing at a massive discount. This is their MO. Now we possibly have a window into what to look for when they do that. Now let's talk a little bit about the market. Here is the Dow chart. Big time bounce off that 200-day moving average yesterday. We had a nice continuation through today on it, and we're getting up again to a downtrend resistance line. We need to break 24,900, the 50-day, but I would say we really need to break above 25K to get back into that trend. Now, what could happen tomorrow, a Friday? It's going to depend on how we open and how the volume is, and if they're able to break us up above this level, or if we're going to bounce up against it again and smack down. Now, the news out today, what's really been bouncing this market back and forth has been the tariff talk, and essentially that now, if we do get tariff news going forward, it's going to be a buy the bid news drop, because if they've essentially said they're not going to do anything, they're in negotiations for the next 6 months. So this is going to kind of be like that Greek debt fiasco or the debt ceiling fiasco we've seen before. They're going to use it as a headline risk to drop the market when it gets to overbought levels and rally the market when it gets to oversold levels. So, you know, that's what we're looking at with that in the near term. CTRV This is a new potential swing play here. They have 3 poster presentations next week at the Liver Cancer Conference, and usually it's common sense that when you're given 3 posters, not just 1 but 3 at a major conference, you usually have something good to talk about. So this chart has been beat to hell. We almost had a downtrend break, which is also the 50-day moving average. You can see this blue line here is the 50-day moving average. So the next level to watch, probably 27, 28 cents is where we'll start to see FOMO traders come in, and the real chasers will start coming in around 30, 32 cents. So, but that will be a nice target objective next week into all those presentations. The 50 days up there at 44 cents. We've got RSI breaking up through 50, which is good. We've got a positive cross on ADX. Stochastics look good. So this is a nice potential play. I mean, look what our other one, CRMD, did. It gave it back today, but the target objective was met here plus a little bit. Got all the way up to 30 and now is retracing back. So we should see similar action on CTRV in the near term. Now, another potential swing play is NSPR. And actually, this is a good stock that we jumped into today because it also ties in with the Czech story. Now, NSPR had this big pop on news a few days ago on the 29th. And what do you think happened the next day? H.C. Wainwright did a financing at $1.75. So, you know, they had that big gap up. You know, they were going, oh, crap, we're getting ready to do this financing. We don't want it going too high because we're going to be getting a steep discount. Short, short, short. Goes to 175, and then they just pound that puppy down. And over the last few days, it's consolidated nicely here around the $1 level. We've got the 8-day moving average at 142. That's a potential, 30% upside. And then the 20-day exponential, this green line here, which the stock always manages to bounce back to after extreme dips. That's up there, too. These are extreme positive divergences. We've got oversold RSI. We've got oversold stochastics. And, you know, this is what we look for on these stocks whenever this kind of action happens. So that's it for the stock plays. And I wanted to mention again, guys, this is a market where you have to play small. Keep your tights or your stops tight. Don't be playing big overnight. Czech was a perfect example. You know, we played that one small overnight. And look, you know, lo and behold, we didn't know those scumbags were going to get to work on it. But just as well, we played it small. You don't want to be risking. This is a market where even swinging plays, you can play them small overnight, and you still have the opportunity to grab them the next day and not have that big overnight risk. Now, I'm going to, you know, I see looking around on Twitter all these posts about guys going, you know, I can't sell a stock because I'm out of day trades. The next video I do, I'm going to go over an easy strategy that, you know, for day trading small accounts that a lot of you should find useful. But we'll get into that in the next video. For now, have a great evening. See you all in the chat room tomorrow. Bye.